People of the world, welcome back to Reap the Harvest Live. Matty Matt in the mix. How's it going, my friend?
What's up? Dude, I'm doing
busy,
awesome.
busy. This guy has been going ham all over the country. And we were just talking abundance mindset. How can we get around people that are going in the right direction? How can we surround ourselves with people that have an upward trajectory in all areas of life? And I like your word, verticals. I never really heard that before until I met you. How can I create new verticals in different areas of my life, new high levels of capacity? Maybe you didn't even know those areas existed. And that's kind of where we started talking in the hallway. And I'm like, man, this guy's smart. He's grounded. And he's got his stuff together. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, why are you producing like Instagram content or Facebook shows or any of that? And he's like, man, not really. And I'm like, dude, I think that could be a strength for you if you did it. And, here we are getting ready to launch your funnel here next week and to start admitting people into a group where they can grow their abundance mindset. And I'm going to tell you, dude, we're going to see people posting 3 to 6 months from now that they've gotten results because it's already working for so many other people I know that are in other communities that I'm in. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Dude, honestly, to God be the glory. That's my firm foundation without a doubt. And then, everything else, I live and breathe off of that and the abundance of what I'm here for, right? And the purpose and the intentionality of how I'm grounded. And right, that's most importantly is playing the giver's game. A couple years ago, did I think 100,000 months were possible? No. But the reality is that you live with that abundant mindset. You turn, your some of your business because it can absolutely turn that. And when you're putting the systems and the businesses in place and then the people around you lifting those people up, man, it's crazy, right? I would even say, it's insane to even just think like COVID is kind of that, right? Where you have that. But and that's what we're looking to do here. We're looking to get around even more people like that to really raise people up. And even out of this, media business that we're creating right now with Pat and I think that's, ultimately playing that giver's game. What's the intentionality of it for? So I'm actually starting another company, right? So we have like commercial division. I have a residential division right now that we're doing a lot of transactional, but the commercial piece that I've been talking a lot about, we're getting that grassroots off the ground. And the other day I had a conversation. I've had 2 conversations this week with my commercial partners. And I've just said, I was like, hey, look, what is the intentionality? Where are we at? Like, what is the purpose, right? What is the purpose of our multifamily? What is the purpose of our commercial doing industrial? What is the purpose? And the purpose is to add value. How do we add value, right? Specifically in our value add commercial multifamily, we've had a deficiency in the maintenance side, right? And by having a deficiency in the maintenance side has basically had an inability for people to call that a home. And I want, our purpose and our mission is so that our communities can have a home. It's not just a transactional where they pay us rent every month. No, like the intention is for them to have a home that we
said that before. And I love that, by the way.
And so, it's taking the terms of a tenant to a resident, right? And I think that even super high level guys that are like, oh, I have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 doors, I'm going to get $1 billion under AUM. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what's the purpose and the vision behind it? Is it to be a slumlord? Is it to increase your NOI base? For me, it's not that, right? If my expenditures go up a little bit, don't get me wrong, I have a fiducial responsibility to my investor base who I'm raising capital from. But at the end of the day, the intentionality, our purpose and our vision is to create a home for somebody. I want to have a home. They're not a tenant to me. They're a resident. And just to think in that mindset, because at the end of the day, like, there's enough money to go around. So anyways, I go back, I was talking to one of my commercial partners. We're going into a decent value add. I think I actually went on live on it a couple months back. We have a commercial strip mall. And I just said, hey, look, I've had a couple commercial contracts come through. I'm a little busy and I want somebody to come in with me and I want to be 50-50 partners. Because we have the upside to it. So I took control of the general partnership and he comes back to me and he's like, dude, you've been working on this for a little while. He's like, dude, you really want to do that? And I'm like, what mindset are you in? I questioned him. I said, what mindset are you in? I was like, are you in a scarcity mindset? We talked about this with Joe. I said, are you in a scarcity mindset or are you in abundance mindset? What mindset are you going to be in? Because to me, there's enough that wealth goes around, right? Do I need to make a profit? Yeah. Do I need to add value? Yeah. Do I need to, like, profit is, right? If it's going to be a substantial loss over time where it's going to take away, then deplete my energy source, it's going to be hard, right? But if I can gain value from it myself, from an energy supply where I'm working on myself, but then also adding value, what does it matter to me, dude? I love having a win-win and creating value in other people. And if I don't make the whole pie, dude, I love not making the whole pie. Because what does it come back to? Rising tides, right? We're lifting each other up together. So for me, it's, do I need the whole? No, if I have a quarter of the pie, I'm still happy with that because I can. Now it's got to be worth my time and energy. So you do have to those are measurables. It has to be worth your time and energy because you have to protect your time. You just can't go out there and just expect to help everybody. You can't, because then you're gonna deplete yourself of.
Yeah, you can't save everybody if you can't save yourself.
You got to work twice as much on yourself. Right. It's a big Jim Rohn
And I think that when we met at that event, at the Commercial Empire event, one of the things Tim Brott said was, I would rather get a bunch of water from a piece of the watermelon than all the water from a grape.
Absolutely.
Remember that? So like, I mean, if I get a big old wedge of water, however he says it, but like, I mean, a big old wedge of watermelon, there's so much more of that to go around than there is all of the water from a grape. That's a great analogy.
So that is a great analogy. And I do want to even say, though, there's been smaller deals, right? Super small deals, 10K deals, even 5K deals, right? That I'm like, hey, look, and I'll bring you case in point. And I'm not like the holy grail on this. I'm like, damn, I really have to do this. But there was a couple scenarios where we had some deals and there was a couple other people in play. And I'm like, hey, look, I still want to benefit that person because they put some time in. You always, when you value somebody's time, that means you're telling them you value them. So at the end of the day, that's so important because I'm saying that, hey, dude, I value you and I value that, albeit I put more time into this, I'm still willing to give you $500 for it. It was a super small deal. I remember doing that on, but I'm like, I got to give this guy $500 because he put in some time to it. And when you pay somebody, you're saying, hey man, I value your time. Or when you give somebody something, I like tangible gifts, coming from, going in biblical realms, right? You had the three prophets actually come to the three kings, come to Jesus, right? And they bore gifts, frankincense and myrrh. And that's important, right? Because when you come bearing gifts, right? I usually like to come to a house. Kelly does a lot better job at this than me because I'm like, I might be running late or something like that. But she's like proactive. Hey, should we bring a bottle of wine? Should we come bearing gifts? Because then when you come bearing gifts or you give somebody something for their time, you're saying, hey, I appreciate your time. I appreciate that. I appreciate that about you. So there's an element to that of that's the abundance mindset, right? Of like, hey, I'm gonna level up this person. I'm gonna appreciate their time, but I hope that they appreciate their time. And I had a conversation even with my my assistant today. And so I had to walk her through a few things. And I had to actually make really, really hard decisions over the past couple months because we just had to clean house on a business. The in-house property management team just wasn't hitting our goals and our objectives that we had, wasn't really setting forth the vision that we needed for our residents. So I had to, I had to go there and I had to really kind of chip on that block and see, hey, what's going wrong? Where can we add value? And who do we need to change out, right? Who's the asset and who's the liability? And at the end of the day, I think I even talked on this a little bit. There's also like don't burn bridges, never burn bridges, right? That's never a thing that I want to do. So it's, exhortations. Hey, this is what we have to do. We appreciate you. But then also coming to the point where, hey, business needs to operate. And what is your vision and what's your end goal? Our end goal for this community is to make residents, not tenants. And what you call a tenant is somebody that's going to completely disrespect your place, is going to trash it. You know, a resident is somebody that's going to call that place home and take care of it. And that's our vision. We want to have residents in our place. So, and we want to treat everyone as a resident. You know, some of them just don't turn out that way. And so I choose to call them residents. So anyways, I had to have my asset, which is my assistant. She handles so much for me. It's insane. And she's my asset. So I went through the line, and I had to take a look at her asset or liability. And I just told her today, I went through that process, and she's one of the most valuable assets I have beyond Pat, dude. Love you too, man. My marketing man. But
real.
But my assistant, I had to tell her, I said, hey, look, you got to start thinking with an abundance mindset. You are thinking in the weeds too much. I need you to back out, think at a macro level, and start managing these people. And I'm not saying you have done a bad job managing that. That's not what I was saying to her. I was saying, but you need to back out and look at the big picture right now, because you're an asset manager. You are not a property manager. I don't want you to try to be a property manager. You're an asset manager. Look at the macro level. Look at the bigger pictures, because we're looking at bigger numbers. And but we need to treat the people the way they need to be treated, and towards our vision, towards where we need to go. And we just hired on a girl, and I walked through the same thing. We just hired on a woman. She's 23. She's awesome. She's phenomenal this week. And it was the same thing. We had to walk through our mission, our business, our vision statement, and our core values. And another thing, I was listening to a podcast on Ed Miletti, dropped this kid off to college, right? And it was just one of those things where you drop your kid off to college. You're like, oh man, this is like I'm kind of giving away. He's become a man officially. And have I raised him well enough? And that's the thing I even think to my girls, right? Is, are they living with that abundance mindset? Are they living by our core values that we've set as a family? Am I training them up so that when I relinquish them at 16, 17, 18, who knows when they're going to move out, right? They're growing up fast. But my 4-year-old, am I raising her well enough at 4 years old where at 16, she's able to have reason and a clear-cut decision-making process where it says, hey, no, this is a bad environment and I got to exit out of it and get in this. And I pray over that every single night that
that can plague people in adult life too.
What's that?
That can plague people in adult life if they're not trained to make that differentiation. Then they continue to go back to toxic behavior, toxic environments. I mean, I'm not. Anyone who watches knows. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've been in, the bar music scene and the music world for a long time, and I eventually had to get out of that and go 100% digital. And so I'm blessed that I was able to cultivate some talents in that area and kind of adapt to where the marketplace was going business wise. But that environment became toxic for me too. It's constantly around booze, constantly around, smoke heads. And it can be challenging when you want to shift into another environment because you're like, oh man, well, I mean, this is all I know. I can't just leave it behind. And it's like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And you're going to have to, because it can be a trap after a while. So I love that. Cause I mean, your girls are a little bit older than mine, but not much. We have a 2-year-old and almost a 1-year-old. And it's just, some of those conversations, I make a lot of jokes and stuff online and stuff, but those conversations that we have with our girls, I don't know how I'm going to have those conversations with my girls. I don't know how parents do it, but I'm going to have to learn as I go because the world is different now than when it was when we were kids.
100%. Man.
It just
100%.
is. So,
but hey, man, that's where we're at though. And I appreciate that input, Pat. But that's what the goal of Reap the Harvest community. So we're actually going to be setting it up. We shot a video today. But that's the abundance mindset, is really creating a level up where we're rising up together. We're focusing on core principles. So we're going to be, like I said, focusing on the spiritual element. If you want to dig in, you don't got to be, you don't have to be spiritual, but hey, we're going to dig into that a little bit. We're going to have guys come in, every Wednesday, we're going to tap into our group and we're going to have some real good speakers. I'll facilitate those calls. We can ask questions. We can really dig in together. Those will be hour-long sessions, 11 a.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern. And then, at the end of the day, we'll have also consulting and strategy sessions as far as how to level up in business too. But we're going to have some high-level thinkers, abundance level mindset, where we're going to level up together. And you're always better together, right? You're never, as you surround yourself with better people, you become better. And that's all that, this life is about. How are we constantly growing? We'll recommend some books. I'm not a massive reader. I'm a big listener. But books are always good to read. I always try to maintain, some 3 to 4 books, I guess, a year. I'd like to read a little bit more, but tell you the truth, I'm a little bit slower reader. I'm like trying to digest every word, and I underline and highlight, and it's one of those things. So, there are those courses too, not to get off on a tangent, that you can become faster readers. So that might be something we tap into, become smarter a little bit faster.
We get the speed reader queen in the group for a session.
That's right. But we'll do, spiritual health and wealth. Those 3 things: spiritual health and wealth. Health is super important. You got to stay accountable, be on a plan. There, nutrition is massive. I can't even tell you, going through this 75 hard of just running.
How far are you into that, by the way?
This is I'm actually, tell you the truth, I already failed. I did not fail at drinking or my diet, so I have those 2 with me. But I failed at taking pictures. Sucks. They want you to take a picture every day, and they want you. I haven't read every day. I have read. I take that back. I have read every day, because part of my self-improvement is working on Spanish. And so if I log that, and the same thing. So I've done my Spanish, but I haven't taken a picture, but drinking is a huge thing, because I would like have a beer or a glass of wine or something with dinner. I've taken that out, man. So anyways, what I wanted to get at, and this is crazy, because this is all part of the reticular activating system too, in the brain, and how what your definition of truth is. Because I always told myself, oh, I'm not a runner, right? I got a new life insurance policy today. And she said I was 6'3". I don't think I'm 6'3". I'm like 6'1.5", 6'2", but I had my shoes on. So
they're specific on those. We got a policy recently too.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm like 6'1.5", I'd say, 192 pounds. But I'll tell you what, I probably lost 12 pounds, I think. But I've run 3 miles a day since I started this. Even before that, I started running. And I always call, I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner. Right. Now I'm starting to like it, because it's the mentality, right? It's like, right. Hey, I gotta run. I gotta do this. I've called myself a non-runner, and now I'm like starting to enjoy running, and now I'm running, started out at like 1 mile. Now I'm up to 3 miles a day.
Nice.
And it's insane how that works, right? You tell yourself over and over again, you're not a runner, and wait, I'm actually a runner, right? My wife and I, she told me, I got mad at her, like super mad at her. And like when we were actually on vacation at Vero Beach, and she told me she wasn't a morning person. I'm like, okay. I'm like, keep telling yourself that, because I guarantee you won't be if you keep telling yourself that. But if you tell yourself, hey, I can get up, I can enjoy mornings. So we get up on Monday and Fridays. Guess what? She enjoys the morning. She just likes chilling, talking. Mornings are such a beautiful time. So it's, especially as a couple, and communication and how you grow, that's part of the spiritual element for me, right, is communication. How are you communicating with your spouse, and how is that bleeding into how you parent, and, how are you able to call each other out and when you need to? Because if you're talking together and you're communicating, when it gets down to a scenario, like my wife told me yesterday, like, I told my daughter, I'm like, that's ridiculous, or something like that. I forget exactly what I told her. But she's like, I don't like that parenting style. You can go immediately into the reptilian mindset of like, yo, and then get all primitive about it and say, hey, look, why are you calling me out? Like,
right,
that's my
defensive or whatever.
But we're getting up in the mornings on Monday and Friday talking through some things. and I can tell her like, hey, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of this? And if we're communicating, when we get to that point, it's like, all right, babe, whatever. Or it's like, hey, I see your point. It's valid,
Right.
Sometimes I don't think her point's valid, and I'm like, no, screw that. Like, like yesterday, I didn't think I was like, whatever. I didn't think it was a big deal. But at the same time, it's like when we're communicating with one another, hey, like we're rising together, we're communicating together, we're like, we're lifting each other up, we're empowering each other. So it's always be cognizant, be abreast of that. And really that's what the community is about. Reap the Harvest community is nothing but bringing some of the best minds together, and some of the even better minds that have already gotten to a space that, we can't even really wrap our minds, and saying, hey, look, how can we get into this mix? How can we, jive together? How can we communicate? How can we be like this? And really build that out, flesh that out, and see where it goes. So, I mean, I'm super pumped about it. It's stupid cheap. I mean, it's going to be $100 a month. That's, breaking that down into a mindset that you can just absolutely, I mean, you can take on a lot, right? And you're going to be getting some value that's probably worth what, 30 grand an hour, 40 grand an hour.
Absolutely.
Some of the people that were charging that, that charged like get in, you're going to be getting massive content. Like if you try to sit down with them for an hour, it would insane. So we're going to get some phenomenal people as speakers in the group. So we'll have speakers probably, one time a month for sure. And we'll try to get a few more of that to actually dive in, but one time a month. And then we'll also be digesting and running through some stuff as far as business strategies, health strategies, spiritual strategies, over the course of every week. So we'll have focus points. And then we'll build on that, and we'll level up together to make sure we're on point and hold each other accountable.
And the together thing's great too, because while I might say, "Oh, I'm not that smart" or something, and I'm being funny about that, there were times where I was like, and again, even at the events we were at, I'm like, "Oh man, I'm not really like a speaker." And I remember Lee and Dolmar and those guys, even Tim, were like, "Dude, you're actually speaking every time you do your guitar gigs. You just didn't consider a speaking gig. How much of the time are you just talking and communicating with people and just kind of hosting the evening while people are eating dinner, or welcoming, Jimmy back from after work? I mean, dude, you're a host, you're speaking. It's just that you're putting down the guitar. So I think sometimes for some people, it'll be overcoming hurdles that we've put in our mind. Like you said, if you wake up in the morning, you say, I'm not a morning person. Maybe that might be a hurdle because you're putting that hurdle in. But once you start telling yourself, hey, that's not a hurdle for me anymore, I'm just going to do it and see how it goes. I'm actually not that bad of a speaker,
Yeah, for sure.
I think you'll start. What I'm saying is, people, once they start to dive in and ask questions and talk and get some acknowledgement from the group, they'll realize they're a lot better at certain things than they ever thought that they were. It's just that they weren't putting themselves in a situation to really work on those things or talk about those things or analyze those things until now, when they made a choice to do it. So because you got to choose to work on these things. Choosing not to work on them, well, that hurdle's never really going to go away unless you continually try to jump over it. So that's something to think about too.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, super pumped about it. Hey guys, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a resource for you to check out. We're gonna share that on our page. We'd love to have you within the group. So reach out, set up a consultation. We'll see if we're a good fit. And hey, we're looking to level up together. So
stay abundant.
Abundance mindset. Abundance. You got to have an abundant mindset in life.
You can do it.
You got to focus. You got to focus. You got to focus. But hey, if you're enjoying this stuff, please subscribe, reach out wherever you're listening in. I know we give a bunch of free content on Facebook, but if you're listening in on any of our sources, whether it's Spotify, YouTube, please leave a comment.
And I'm going to start putting the link to that soon too. We'll have that link live, guys and gals. So I'll have a hyperlink that you can click on to jump over to the other page where Matt explains exactly what it is, and it maps it out. And of course, a beautiful picture of his beautiful wife and family, who I'm very thankful for. Great people. You guys helped me level up a lot, see things from different points of view and all that kind of stuff too. So I encourage you guys to remember that when you look at this stuff, is that there's already people getting results. I mean, we get messages all the time from people that say they enjoy the show, they watch the replays, they're getting something out of it. One of your friends messaged you and said it's one of the best things he sees on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't remember where that message is, but I saw the message and the dude was like, dude, love what you're doing. And while he might not be live commenting every single week, he's catching this and it's helping him in his daily week. Or it was the Make It a Great Day guy.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? So wake up, make it a great day, and don't beat yourself up. Important. It is not beating yourself up on stuff, but taking action every day to make yourself better in those areas. You'll find that those hurdles will end up behind you and you're on to the next. There's going to be another hurdle too. So as you level up, the hurdles get higher. So love you, man. Great Friday. Everybody have a great weekend.